episode of Beer for Breakfast ABV. I am Danielle from Marty and Danielle in the Mornings on 91X. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me, Paul Segura, brewmaster of Carl Strauss. And today we are welcoming brand new people to Beer for Breakfast, and I am so stoked for this. We have Sam, head brewer, and we also have Tyler Sellerman from Ketch Brewing. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So we got started on the Magic Pilsner, a 5.5% ABV Pilsner. Tell me all about this beer, Sam.
Yeah, so one of the things that's important to us, as far as all the beers that we make, is drinkability. We want beer that we like to drink and that you want to drink a lot of. So that's reflected in a lot of the styles we do. So, for example, this German-style Pilsner. We also have a Kolsch, which is popular, and our Ultimars are a Mexican-style amber lager. So we go through a lot of all of those. For this beer in particular, yeah, there it is. Nice. Yeah. So this beer in particular is Dr. BILLHEIME'R's Magic Pilsner, or Magic Pilsner for short. My last name is BILLHEIMER. My background is in oceanography. So yeah, I used to work in oceanography while homebrewing. I actually started homebrewing back when I was doing commercial fisherman work that was seasonal. And so, I just have, the winter, without any work, and had to save some money on beer. So, all right, I'm going to brew my own, and then kind of got into it that way. After that, got into oceanography and actually did the UCSD Professional Brewing Certification Program, in which Paul was one of my instructors. Great class. And then I decided that, to go pro after that. But so it's I finished the PhD in oceanography and then switched to brewing over from there.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So that kind of describes the name of the beer. As far as the beer itself, straight, traditional, classic Northern German Pils, just like a sharp bitterness, but then just a clean finish and clean, super dry finish. So,
Paul, I think that this is.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Paul, I think that this is the first time that we have like an actual doctor on Beer for Breakfast. There have been some people who have called themselves doctor, but I think this is the first time we have an actual doctor. This is so rad.
Well, you got to use it somehow, right? So might as well slap it on a beer name.
People who play doctor, I mean, that's not enough. You actually got to have the PhD.
Yeah.
This beer is delicious, man. I like dry, crisp, clean, no sulfur, no nothing, no DMS. Nice and hoppy finish, clean and crisp though. Like you say, it's German Pils. Did you go full German? Everything, yeast, hops, everything.
Everything's German. Yeah, all German Pilsner malt, traditional, Weihenstephan 3470 yeast, to get specific. But yeah, just try and go as traditional as possible.
Nicely done. And it's crystal clear. Look at that.
Yeah.
Your filtration regimen is strong.
That's something that I actually really enjoy in beers, although it's maybe not as fashionable now as it was, say only 5 years ago. But that's something that I actually really appreciate in beers. I love having especially like a dry, like when it's a dry, crisp beer, just the appearance of the clarity, makes it look good.
Yeah.
Well, nothing to hide behind. There is nothing to hide. Like, this is just a pure Pilsner. I love this.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Sexy as hell. I said, this is sexy as hell.
Yeah, we were fortunate to win a silver medal at U.S. Open for this beer last year. So that was great.
Awesome. So, this is Ketch's first time on Beer for Breakfast. When did Ketch start? What is the story behind Ketch Brewing?
So, for the name Ketch comes from the sailing vessel, a ketch, which, for those of you who aren't fully aware, something that we're proud of, but we also try to differentiate ourselves. We're part of the Brigantine family of restaurants. So a Brigantine is a dual-masted sailing vessel, and a Ketch is a smaller dual-masted sailing vessel, and that's kind of where the name came from. So we wanted to kind of stick with that nautical theme, but also differentiate ourselves so that we could be viewed as the brewery we are, and not just, oh, hey, this is a side project for this restaurant company, because that's not why we got into this. We got into this because we had a great opportunity to, land this great guy who took a class from this great man. And so therefore, with all of that, we saw this great opportunity. Yes, we already have outlets, so we've got a little bit of distribution to help us in this very, very, very competitive market. And it allowed us to get a foot in and kind of establish ourselves with a little bit of distribution to those restaurants. But really, we want to focus on the future of growing this brand. And that's kind of where it all came from. It's like, how do we get into such a competitive market? Well, we've got to find someone who is very stylistically traditional. We didn't want to get out there. We interviewed a lot of people, and a lot of great people that we're still in touch with in the industry. But one of the stories I always tell about Sam, I asked him, if you could brew one beer for the rest of your life, what would it be? Out of all the applicants that we interviewed, he was the only one that didn't say IPA. And from him, that was something that was unique and different about him already. And so that's kind of why we were lucky enough to find him and kind of commit to him, saying, hey, man, here you go. Have at it. Let's have some fun. Let's make some good, clean beers, and let's just have a really good time doing it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the background story behind where we came from.
Dude, this Pilsner is legit. I mean, we think of some of the breweries in San Diego who make amazing Pilsners and lagers, Epic, Doug Hasker over at Puesto. Yeah. I would put this in that same category with these amazing Pilsners and lagers that we're seeing coming out of this. Like, Sam, you slammed it with this.
That's a huge honor, Danielle. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was going to say the same thing. To be mentioned with people that are, in our opinion, that great of brewers already, that's a tremendous compliment. So thank you.
Oh, of course.
The style of beer he mentioned in the interview was probably Pilsner.
Yeah.
All right.
It actually was.
So before we transition into the IPA, I did get the chance to go and pick up these beers at the tasting room there in Kearney Mesa, and it looked really cool. However, it was on the weekends, and you guys aren't open on the weekends. So can you tell me what the hours are of the tasting room and kind of what's going on over there?
So as far as our tasting room goes, as we all know, we're stuck in this ever-changing world and regulations and restrictions and guidelines, and we're lucky to have this space. However, our indoor space is pretty small, and that's a beautiful can, by the way. And we don't have a whole lot of outdoor space to play with. So therefore, we're limited. And because of the restrictions and the guidelines, we kind of had to cut back our hours. So right now, we're lucky enough that we're 11 to 7 every day, Monday through Friday. And we had to cut our weekend hours just because it's tough. We were great. It was so difficult because there was so much great momentum for us and the tasting room leading up to February, March, and then it just stopped. And so now we barely opened the tasting room a month ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I don't feel so under the rock because I had no idea it was there. I was like, when I was Googling and I went to see where it was, I was like, wait a second, I know where that Starbucks is. I went there all the time when I went to Mesa College. There's a tasting room here. When I went to Mesa, this would have been a totally different college experience.
Right, for sure.
So that's where we're at, and we're lucky enough to be open at the capacity we're at now. We just, we're very hopeful and can't wait to get back to full capacity again because there truly are lines out the door because our space is so small and the demand in the area is really, really good. We're very lucky.
Is there not a restaurant with the Ketch name now as well, or is that still in the works?
So we have Ketch Grill and Taps, which is down in Point Loma. We also have a Ketch Grill and Taps in on the Embarcadero that just opened, and we just opened our Ketch Brewing tasting deck down on the Embarcadero as well too. So
3 locations.
Yeah. So the Ketch Grill and Taps is more of a restaurant focused on kind of a pub-centric food. We offer all of our beers at the Ketch location in Point Loma. We offer all of them down at the Embarcadero as well, at Portside Pier. This is kind of our hub and our home that we call our true tasting room. We see the brewery there. But the other two locations, those are restaurants that we just opened. I think Ketch Grill and Taps was coming on 3 years, which opened actually right before the brewery did, because with construction and things here, the plan was to open the brewery, then the restaurant, but somehow the restaurant opened before the brewery that year. So
that is a beautiful, beautiful restaurant. If you've never been, it's right there on the water. It is right in between Epic Waterfront and Valley High. So really, if you plan your day out correctly, you start at one end and you just working your way down.
Yep, exactly.
Totally.
I would not recommend starting at the Valley High.
No. I honestly, depending on the Mai Tai too, I wouldn't recommend ending there. So it kind of depends. But maybe you do go the other way. Who knows? But Valley High, they're amazing too. We're lucky to be surrounded by so many great restaurants in that area.
For sure. And gosh, once Humphreys gets up and going again. So going to our next beer, the Celestial Navigation San Diego Style IPA. I started sipping on this while you were talking, and it's really good too. Sam, dude, where you been, man? You're an amazing beer.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the concept with this beer is, we wanted like a classic West Coast IPA, but, like in line with sort of our mentality with how we want a lot of our beers to be, which is, ultimately drinkable. You might notice this beer has a little bit less bitterness than a typical West Coast IPA. So slightly less bitterness, but it's still, it's still super dry and clear, obviously. But we really wanted to focus and emphasize on like the hop aroma and hop flavor. So, a ton of hop aroma and flavor and gentle bitterness relative to other West Coast IPAs. The focal hops in this beer are Mosaic, Simcoe, Amarillo, and Hallertau Blanc. Just to throw a little curveball in there.
Well, it demonstrates those hops. It's definitely hop forward, and like you said, a little low on the bitterness, but that's okay. It's still very hop forward. All those hops are still there in the aroma and the flavor. Super orangey. Like I could tell this has Amarillo and Mosaic in there because it's like orange Fruit Loops.
Right, totally, for sure. Yeah, it's funny. The Mosaic kind of throws in that sort of hop candy type flavor. Man,
it almost tastes like it's a hazy that's not hazy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Right. On sort of the dry spectrum. Yeah.
It's that orangey and that fruit forward. Super well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Man, pretty
so
upset.
You guys have 3 years to work on it.
Like, I can't believe I've gone this long without like really indulging in some Ketch Brewing beer. Like, you guys are doing something special over there at Ketch, and I mean, it's really awesome that you're part of the Brigantine family, but you definitely stand all on your own under that umbrella. Congratulations for everything you're doing over there.
Yeah, thanks for that, Danielle. Appreciate it.
We're really trying, and we're very lucky to have Sam. He's a big part of this. We didn't do the Kolsch here today, but the Kolsch has already won 2 medals in 2 years. Pretty, in my opinion, big medals. So from that standpoint, we're just lucky to be so young and still be on such a great track to all the great things that we can do here in the future. So again, I don't want to sit here and pump up this guy forever, but we're just so lucky to have him. And again, he came from a great program, and we're just happy with where we're going, and we can't wait to see what the future holds for us.
What is the best way to get Ketch beer? I mean, obviously the tasting room is there and it's always pumping out. You guys doing beers to go? Where can we get your guys' beer?
You can find all of our beers at Ketch Grill and Taps in Point Loma, Ketch Brewing Tasting Deck down on the Embarcadero, and also the Ketch Grill and Taps location on the Embarcadero as well too. Throughout the rest of San Diego, we've got a lot of support. And again, I wish I could list off all these wonderful people, and thank you to all of them for helping us get to where we're at, and just excited to see where we go in the future.
What happened?
I didn't hear any of that.
Vacuum cleaner? That was weird.
Vacuum cleaner?
Was that on our end? Because we didn't hear that. We just saw
Well,
the face go crazy.
All right. With that, Paul, do you have any parting words for our friends Sam and Tyler over at Ketch Brewing?
Well, I'd like to tell everybody out there, like, if you haven't had Ketch yet, and you trust anything I say, give this beer a shot. You're going to be pleasantly surprised if you haven't had it yet. Super enjoyable beers. They're on point. They're clean. They're crisp. They're good. Drink these beers, everybody, because they're solid.
Thank you.
Right on. Cheers, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that, Paul.
Thank you guys so much. And remember, every Friday morning, Paul joins Marty and I on the morning show on 91X at 9:10 to drink beer for breakfast. And we will be drinking beer from Ketch Brewing. So that is at 9:10 on 91X in San Diego. Hang out with us. And cheers to independently owned craft beer and radio in San Diego.
All right.
Cheers. Much continued success, guys.
Thank you very much.
91X.